Hi, I'm Melissa from Live, Learn, Work at Home, and this is Mandy. She's the youngest of 7 kids. So just a quick introduction of our family. Mandy is 7 months old. We have a 5-year-old girl, and then an 8-year-old boy, and a 10-year-old boy, and a 12-year-old boy, and a 15-year-old girl, and a 17-year-old boy who is a senior. So I have kindergarten through senior plus a baby. So I wanted to introduce our family. We have always homeschooled, and we homeschool through a charter school in California, which means that we get funds and the opportunity to spend and pick how to spend those funds on vendors and supplies and various other things. So we kind of have the best of both worlds. I have to admit, I also work for the charter school. I'm called an educational specialist. So I work about 20 to 30 hours a week, and some of those are out going to appointments to help other homeschoolers, and then I work on my computer at home quite a bit too. So that's kind of how we are. We're a busy household. Everybody is doing all kinds of things, and I am busy with work and various other things, but I get a lot of questions. So I decided to start a blog in order to have a place to send people for the questions, and also a YouTube channel because sometimes it is actually just quicker to talk. So my website is Live, Learn, Work at Home, and that is also the name of my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to start with a video response from Farmhouse Full. She's a mother of 7 who homeschools. I am also a mother of 7, but our schedules will look completely different because we have different age ranges, different age brackets, and our kids homeschool differently. So in order to talk about our schedule, I have to talk about our default schedule. Our days often look different, but we have what is called default, and that is the day that would typically happen if we don't have any interruptions and nothing else is going on. This doesn't happen very often, but by having a default, we know what we're trying to get back to. So what happens is my older 2 children, my son drives, which is really nice, and he takes him and my daughter to a class that starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then they get back by 7:30. I usually wake up about 6, and then I have that time kind of to myself, and then we get everybody else up at 7:30 when they get home. As we're eating breakfast, we typically will do some kind of lesson at the table. This can be a YouTube video that I found and have saved to Pinterest. It can be some type of podcast. We listen to various podcasts and then we discuss them. Or I may jump straight into our reading. Every day after, either during that breakfast we'll start the reading, or after breakfast, and as we're cleaning up, I start reading to the kids, and then they all move into the family room, which is right next to our dining room, so you can hear that if some are still eating, they can still hear. And they'll at that time bring maybe something to draw or something to do while I'm reading. Or when I get to history, often we have them do notes, and they have to do as many notes as their grade, which gives them kind of a good starting point, and then they're doing more and more as they go along. So we will read a chapter in history, we'll read a chapter of our current classic novel, we'll read poetry, and then usually a character or devotion book. So that will usually take an hour, hour and a half, because sometimes we stop to discuss. Then there might be something which I call mom school that I throw in, and that can be anything. It can be Spanish lessons, sign language, art studies, an art project, poetry memorization, Latin, root words, and there's actually just tons of stuff that we work on at various times, various schedules, or just a lesson that I just want to do with all of the kids. So that's our time that we do all the kids. Sometimes after the reading, I will release my oldest 2 because they're in high school and they have a lot more independent work to get to. So it just depends on what we're doing there. But then we'll go, after we've done that together time, everyone goes to their independent work and they go to the chalkboard and they kind of look. I have written in the morning before they wake up, I write a list of what they're supposed to do that day. So how many math pages, piano, do they have piano theory for that day? Do they have how many chapters of reading? Do they have book report due? What about homework for some of their other classes? Things like that. And they'll check, and then they put their initials on the chalkboard, and that lets me glance at the chalkboard and know where each child is in their day, and then I can check too. So if someone has said, I've done my math, I've done 3 pages of math, I can go and I can look and see, did they really do 3 pages of math? And then also during this independent time, basically I float is what I call it. So whoever needs my help, I go and I help. So that whole time is dedicated to, hey mom, help me with this. Hey, help me with this. Help me with this. And I do it that way instead of taking turns with lessons, because a lot of times they can figure things out on themselves. And then sometimes they need help, sometimes they don't need help. And I find that there's enough time to teach them, and they just ask when they're confused on something. But then my 5-year-old often will need help most of the time. There are a few things that she does independently. We do a couple online programs that fill in gaps. They do a test at the beginning and that fills in any gaps in the course subjects. And then, so she'll do that, and that is completely on her own. And there's a couple other things that she can do completely on her own. But like math, she still pretty much needs help with anything. She does, we get a monthly subscription that's like, it's called Ivy Box, and it's like a preschool kindergarten in a box. It's about a picture book, and then all these activities that cover, history, science, math, and reading all together in one box. And she loves those activities. So, but they tend to be very like, parents need to be there in order to get any benefit from them. So I do those with her as well. But so we'll float through all of that and then in between there, the kids will eat. Now, we used to have we stop and we all eat together, and I made lunch. So this year we're not really doing that. This year we pretty much, just as the kids come to a natural break point in whatever they're studying, they go get their lunch, and then they come back to whatever they're studying and pick it up and keep going. And we usually go all the way till 1 or 2, and then my older 2 children often go all the way till 4. So that's about how that goes. After 1 or 2, 2 o'clock is kind of I'm off from being, no more questions, I'm not here to help anymore, and I go and I work the rest of the time until about 5:30, and then 5:30 we clean up and get ready for dinner and evening and things like that. So that's our default day. Now, there is a lot of variation. Because we are with a charter school, and this whole area has a lot of charter schools like this, there ends up being a lot of vendors that have popped up, right? Because they can get paid. They can teach classes and get paid. And so we have the opportunity to pick all these classes. So at the beginning of the semester, we kind of write out this big long list of everything that anybody might be interested, and then we see which classes kind of can coordinate, what people can really do, because obviously I can't be driving 6 kids on 5-6 different days to 6 different locations. So we have to say, this year basically what I said is we can be out 2 days to classes, and you all have to kind of go together. Does that make sense? So they can't all be this and that. And the reason I did that is because there's actually a couple very good, easy ways to do that in our area. So they voted, and they picked on Tuesdays to take 2 classes at a learning center, except for my kindergartner who stays home with me and the baby. And we get 4 hours, just the 2 of us, of really concentrated mom, kindergarten time, reading lessons, activities. We end up actually doing a lot of art projects and activities and just fun things that are really directed towards her that she loves, and that's a really fun day on Tuesdays. And then Wednesdays they all leave, including the kindergartner, and they all wanted to do 4 classes, so they are actually gone for 7 hours, which I have never had this before, but it gives me all day long Wednesday with the baby. And I typically schedule my work appointments for Wednesday, so I am usually out to most of the day, out at appointments helping other families homeschool. And the baby so far just comes with me. I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but for now she comes with me, and we go around and visit other homeschooling families and see what they need help with. So, and then Thursdays we do a co-op or a field trip group where we either go on a field trip or we just get together and do projects. So like this week we are wrapping up like a marathon thing where all the kids are trying to run 26.2 miles, and we're doing the final 1 mile run together and getting ribbons. And then we're doing egg drop experiments at the fire department, which is kind of cool. The fire department has agreed to let us use their ladder and do the drop there. So that'll be fun tomorrow. So that's Thursday. Okay, and Mandy's back. So just to say that, so usually I am home Monday and Friday, sort of. And the reason I say that, my daughter actually works from 1 to 3:30 on Mondays, kind of across town, and she can't drive. So I drive her there at least one way. Sometimes my son will drive her. And then Friday, my two sons have piano lessons at a teacher's. I teach the other kids piano lessons myself because they're all at a level and an ability to that I can do that. And then my other son has been taking cooking classes, which is really fun because he is gluten-free, and so there is a lady who's been willing to do, instead of like a large group cooking class that some of the other kids have done, doing just private lessons to keep it all gluten-free where it's safe for him to do. So that happens all on Friday. So really there's no perfect default days where we're home all day, but it's working because I'm not driving all day. So if that makes sense, that is our schedule with 7 busy homeschool kids and a working mother who works from home. It is crazy, it is busy, but it works, and actually it feels comfortable this semester, and we'll tweak it every semester as we go and as the kids vote for whatever they want to do. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below. Also, you can see me over at livelearnworkathome.com, and I'll be answering some questions that I get regularly over there. And I'm going to go put Mandy down for a nap, and I will see you later. Thanks. Bye.